And welcome everyone to our kindergarten and new student informational session. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. This will be about a 30-minute session, depending on how long our Q&A session goes. If you notice at the bottom of your taskbar for this webinar, there is a place to ask questions. We will reserve that till the end of the webinar. Maybe some answers will be given throughout our time together this evening, but feel free to throw any question you may have into the chat. We already had a great one related to, is this for preschool as well? And all families may attend, especially if you're a new student or a kindergarten student. This will mostly be geared towards kindergarten and new students in K1 and 2. We'll have an open house for our preschool students on August 25th, but you are more than welcome to stay because this does talk about the general school day for your child. So, but this is mostly geared towards our kindergarten and new students, as well as anyone who would like information about the ECC as well. So we will jump on in. You are one of the first to see our theme for the year. We are so excited to do what we are going to call a relaunch. So we'll be relaunching Reggio, Relationships and Relevance this school year as we slowly try to sneak our way out of living through the pandemic. And one of the ways we're going to make that a student-friendly way is it's all going to be about being bright this year. So we will be talking to your children and with your children and about how they can be bright, how they can shine this school year, how they can learn and grow, and how it is all about them, that child-centered approach. So we can't wait to see their shadows grow as they stretch towards the sun, as they are bright this year. And the staff side of things will be really relaunching our strong roots in the Reggio approach, as well as building relationships and that relevance for your children. Tonight, we are going to cover what your child's day is going to look like, as well as arrival and dismissal information. We'll briefly touch on breakfast and lunch this school year. We'll talk about our upcoming supply drop-off and bus run, and have the ending be a Q&A of any questions that you may still have that we may not have answered this evening. So we will have that opportunity to answer questions as well. So we're going to jump right in. These are pictures that we just took today. So we are so excited. Our amazing custodial staff led by Mr. Mark, they've been working feverishly all summer to get the building up to par. So you see those shiny hallways that you will get to see during school supply drop-off. Families will be welcomed in on August 22nd. And this is the kindergarten hallway as well as a kindergarten classroom. Most all kindergarten rooms are already set up by their teachers working anxiously to welcome your children here for the school year before their summer is even over. The reason I showed the picture on the left, in addition to the shiny floors, is that's what your child's lockers will look like this year. So they will each have a little cubby with their name on it, where they can put their backpack, their coat, their blanket, anything that they have with them at the school during the school day. And that will be that place for that. And this teacher already has your children's names listed on those lockers for them this year, as well as just get an idea of what your kindergarten classroom will look like. We will have plenty of carpet time and morning meetings, as well as small group reading meetings, which is that kidney table you see in the right picture on the bottom left. And this is just one example of how excited the room has already been set up for welcoming your child back to school. This is a sample schedule. This is actually the kindergarten schedule. If your child is a first or second grader coming new, it'll look similar to this. But the one thing that will be different for a first and second grade child is when they will have their specials time. And we'll talk about specials here momentarily on all the fun classes. If you do have a preschool student, your preschool child will also have specials this year. And so we're excited to reintegrate having our amazing professional specialists in art, music, PE, etc., to join your children at the pre-K level as well this school year. I do want to get a quick poll of who is in our webinar today. So I'm going to launch a poll that should be popping right now on your screen to let us know as I continue the webinar which age group your child is. It's multiple choice. You should be able to pick more than one. So you may have a kindergartner, but also a preschooler. So if we can have you answer that question accordingly. We already have 53 or 48 responses, so we will give about another 10-second window for you to submit your responses. And we will end that here in 3, 2, and 1. And we have a great mix of people here. So thank you to our 33 kindergarten families for joining us today, our few first and second graders, as well as our 16 preschoolers. So we'll keep that in mind as we continue the webinar to make sure we're catering to all 4 sets of families as we continue. So our largest population is our kindergarten families. So this is a kindergarten sample schedule. We will have arrival from 7:45 to 8 o'clock. And then we are also asking that our families drop their children off by 8 o'clock so that they can begin the school day with a great morning meeting that will be every morning. And then we'll get into a literacy block as well as a special schedule. I can tell you that our preschool specials here are 9:25 to 10:25. So our children will always have an hour of specials. If they're a preschooler, they will have specials for a half hour each day, around 10:30 to 11:05, some buffer time there. If you are a second grade parent, your children's specials will be first thing in the morning. Those are our leaders of the school that can jump right into a transition with specials at 8:20. And then if your child is a first grader, they'll have specials in the afternoon from 12:15 to 1:15. Otherwise, it's a great mix of science and social studies. We have lunch and recess. Our lunch and recesses are getting back to kind of how it used to look pre-pandemic, with each class of students, the whole kindergarten class, eating together in the lunchroom as well as recess. So we're looking forward to bringing all of our children back together so that they can all play with one another this school year. We do have a little bit of quiet time, which will also include individual and group instruction for our kindergarten students, followed by a literacy block, our math block, and finishing up with our recess, our second recess of the day, with packing up and dismissal time. So you may have questions related to that. Feel free if you do have any questions. I already see one popping up that I will answer in this next slide about school start and stop time. All right, we also have our specials classes. So I put in a picture from this past school year of all of our specials teachers, a phenomenal, talented group of people. On the top left here, you see our seed to table teacher, Gardner Mathis, with our 2 amazing little bunnies that just joined a new home. We built a chicken coop with an Eagle Scout this summer, and our chickens are coming. We're gonna get 5 silky chickens. So we can't wait to bring a wonderful set of 5 chickens in that will cohabitate with little Rosie and Ruby here that you see pictured. So we're excited for our students to name the chickens and to be a part of that Seed to Table program. On the bottom left, you see Miss Shep. She is our art teacher. This was a beautiful collaborative piece that was made, each individual tile by a child here at the ECC, and those are being hung outside our gymnasium as we speak. So we're looking forward for those to be a centerpiece of our school. The 2 holding the chickens, we had a chicken day this past spring to get geared up for our chickens. So they had a fun chicken PE activity. Coach Renicky and Coach Nixon there, and they do have PE together. So your child will have both teachers with 2 classes combined for PE. Again, all of these teachers will also be teaching a small set of specials times for our preschoolers as well. So every child will be touched by our amazing specialists. Top right is we have librarian Justice, who did a great folktale unit here with the children around the quote unquote campfire in the library. And last but not least, we have Mr. Pentecost, who is our music teacher, and he did some great collaboration and music making outside in our open area this year, as pictured there as you see. One more thing to go back to specials. It's a 6-day rotation, so your child will get one of these classes each day. PE is twice during that 6-day rotation. So every day they'll have a variety of different things. It'll always be at the same time of the day. So they always have one of those places to look forward to going at the set time per day. All right, next up is a question that I've already seen in the chat here, and I have Ms. Stansel that will be kind of monitoring the chat for the official questions that will come out here at the end. And that question so far has been arrival and dismissal. So K1 and 2 students can arrive as early as 7:45 a.m. and they will be leaving at the 3 o'clock hour. If your child is a preschool student, they arrive between 8 o'clock, 8 and 8:15 a.m. and will begin leaving out at 2:40 p.m. So a slight difference, but if you share siblings where your K1 and 2 children also can arrive at school with your pre-K child right around the 8 o'clock hour, as well as dismiss at precisely around 2:50 with any children that you have both a preschool child and a K1 and or 2 child. So in years past, we had 2 different dismissal times for them, but we changed that last year so that you don't have to come around the car pickup line twice for your set of children. As well as dismissal, students will dismiss via the bus or a car rider between 3 and 3:15. Our students that come and ride the bus do get dropped off on the Oakland side of the school building, and our car riders come up through the parking lot on the Burgess-Laclede station side. I will be sending out a map on exactly what that will look like here as we approach the new school year. We will be having breakfast and lunch again this school year, except breakfast will no longer be sent home at the end of the school day like it was in years past. It will be served in the morning. So breakfast and lunch will have a fee again this year. So I'm verifying it will be around $2.95 for lunch for sure. I have not heard about breakfast quite yet, but those numbers are forthcoming with Chartwell's a new company that will be coming, that will be our food services company here shortly. I'm so sorry, I have a little tickle in my throat, so I'm gonna go to the next slide and grab my water bottle. Sorry about that. I gotta gear up for the new school year with talking more, right? So next up, we have 2 important dates, and I will explain those shortly. Sorry, Ms. Tansel.
So one of our events that we're going to be doing, which is coming up and you'll get more information about that, is our bus run and supply drop off. And so this is going to be held on Monday, the day before the first day of school. And so what you can expect is you will just do a run as though your child's coming to school that first day. You have been sent out, if you're a bus rider or if you are a car rider, you've already sent that to Miss Peggy, and we are utilizing that information. And so you will use those same bus times. You will be at the bus stop, and the buses will be picking up your child at those stops, and you can expect to arrive at the school by 7:45. And so with that, you will meet your child, and then in the building on that particular day, you will have the opportunity to come into the building, go to your child's class, and drop off the supplies. Another thing that will be happening on that day is if you are a car rider, you will be receiving, and there will be many opportunities where you can receive the same item, but your car tag, so that when you are driving up to pick off your child, we can quickly call their name as you're driving up to have them come out to the car. So bus run day it's a lot of moving pieces, but it's a way for your child to meet their teacher, drop off supplies, gather your car tag. And if you are unable to come on that particular day, we will have an additional supply drop off, which just a drive-by dropping off on Wednesday, August 17th from 4 to 6. And so we will have someone outside. The teachers will not be here, so you will not have that opportunity. But if you'd like to not have to lug supplies in on the first day, then that would be another time to do that. Did you want to add anything to that, Dr. Loyette?
No, you are a rock star. Thank you for taking over. I knew I didn't drink enough water today. Thank you so much. We're really looking forward to this day, mostly to be able to welcome families in. It's been a long few years of families not being able to come into the ECC. So we really look forward to this supply drop off to actually get to come in and meet your classroom and meet your teacher for a second time, since they have had the home visits with you in the past. So looking forward to that day. And please, if you have any questions related to this day, please ask us. We will be sending out more information, but your questions may help us send out additional information for all families. And then finally, the first day of school for our K1 and 2 students is Tuesday, August 23rd. Our first day for our preschool is a week later. That will be Tuesday, August 30th for our preschool students. And we are just really gearing up and looking forward to a great school year with each and every one of you. As you have heard communication from the district, masks will be required for the first 2 weeks to help mitigate the recent spike in COVID-19. But after those first 2 weeks, they will become recommended. For preschool, that means 3 weeks into the school year. 2 weeks will begin on August 30th for that those first 2 weeks of masking being required coming back from the summer months. The next slide is just our information. So if you have any questions or need to know concerns, we are a phone call or an email away, and we will share that information out also in email form to everyone through our Constant Contact weekly notification system. And then finally, we do have some time here at the last 10 minutes or so of our time we have here to answer any questions that you may have. So if this goes well and the tickle stays away, Ms. Stansel will go ahead and ask the question and I will answer it for the group.
So we definitely have a few questions. The exact address of Burgess parking lot for my GPS, or sounds like you'll provide it. So there is definitely going to be a map for who goes where during drop off, correct?
Yes, correct. So it is, oh my gosh, here I'm going to blank, 2800 Burgess Avenue, I believe. It's the same as the Oakland drop off as well. Oftentimes your GPS will take you possibly to the Oakland side. All the systems haven't been updated with our address and where we are. But if you go south on the Clede Station Road from Manchester and then an immediate left onto Burgess Avenue, you will see our parking lot, and the map will have exactly the flow that we have. It's we have around 200 plus car riders in the morning, but those who have been with us before, we have a pretty good system that hopefully will get you in and out in 5 to 10 minutes with the volume that we do have. But we will send that out via email to you all, so you know exactly which road to come down, and we'll additionally add that address too. If you can make note of that, Ms. Stansel, that we'll add the GPS address additionally to the map.
Got it. The next question would be about just clarifying that the bus run drop off day, it does not apply to preschool, but I know we have some families that have several grade levels that might already be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So our preschoolers are all car riders. You would put any K1 or 2 child that you are planning to use the bus on the bus at that time, 7:45, and then you as their parent guardian will meet them on the Oakland side, and we'll send out additional information about that. I feel like that might be another question on there, Ms. Stansel, as well, where you will meet your child when they get off the bus on the Oakland side, and then walk them in to get to meet their classroom and their teacher. So you'll want to park probably on any of those side streets on the Oakland side, and come on over to meet your child. We will have all bus riders congregate right outside the Oakland doors, which are the old front doors of the school building, and tell them some bus safety tips and some things. So we'll keep them by bus line for several minutes so that it gives families all time to see where their child is, and kind of meet us on the peripheral of our meeting so we can talk about some bus safety and tips for the children.
Okay. I'm trying to ask them because we're kind of talking about just making sure. Another question was, we have a few questions about breakfast. One about breakfast being a part of the day, and how will they pay for that?
That's a great question. So the district has sent out initial communication. That's right when I got the tickle in my throat. So I'll go back to that a little bit. Chartwell's is now a food services company that will be providing our food. So in the past, we use all MRH employees to make all of our food. So it's an outside food company coming in, and it was came with high credentials to service schools quite well. And so the system will be under, I believe, My School apps. So that information will be coming out where you can load money onto the My School apps that has money to be able to put in. Additionally, we will be sending out and has been sent out once by the district, but we'll continue to send it out, free and reduced lunch forms that you can fill out so that we can mitigate some of the costs of that around $2.95, $3 lunch price. I will be very transparent and sharing that breakfast. We're still working out the details of how breakfast will look because we have what we call a gym cafetorium, meaning our gym is also our cafeteria. We have a tight schedule, a tight turnaround to be able to clean up the breakfast area if we are to have it in the cafeteria in the morning, because our second grade special starts right at 8:20. And so we're working on where exactly breakfast will be served. But regardless, your child will come to the lunchroom to get a breakfast and then either sit at a table or take it to their classroom. So there's pros and cons of doing either way, especially for instructional time and the stickiness that can be created in the classroom. But we are deciding that within the next week with some teacher input as well as our food services input. So we have the best decision for that.
And adding to that, do we know if parents will need to select the meals or will they just be provided and children select here? Do we know how
Great
Chartwell
question.
set that up yet? I wrote that.
That's a great question. I don't have the exact answer for that, but I believe your child will choose the lunch item. I believe there will be a couple of options, but they will choose that at school. You will not be choosing that from at the home level. That will be decided at school.
Okay. And just to keep on the lunch track, just our lunch is completely nut free or just peanut free for the kids that select to bring their own lunch.
Okay, I think I got can you ask the first part of that one more time?
Our lunch is nut free or just peanut free for kids who select to bring their own lunch.
Okay, great question. So for our preschool, for licensing and some Head Start policies, it's completely peanut free, and lunch is provided, for all children in preschool with how we do licensing, and it's part of the tuition. But in K1 and 2, there will be a peanut-free table that is separate from the other tables, where if there is an allergy, the children will sit at the peanut-free table. Obviously, if there's extenuating circumstances or there's a high allergy situation, we'll assess those accordingly. But for the classrooms, so we'll please need to communicate with school nurse and teacher. Otherwise, there is a peanut-free table for children who may have the allergies.
And one more thing, students, then are they required to eat breakfast at school?
No, they are not required to eat breakfast at school. However, it will be an option. So since there will be a price point now related to all the food items, it is not mandatory to eat breakfast, but is an option that is being made for all students.
Okay. There's a few questions just to clarify the adding of money or how lunches will be paid for.
Good question. So, and I did see that My School Bucks was something that was used in the past. So that information will be forthcoming from the district, and we will make sure that gets communicated in several different forms to you. There is a way to upload money similar to the school bucks system that was used before we had the voucher for free breakfast and lunch for all students. So it'll be very similar to a process you used in the past where you get online and update, you add money into your child's account and then it is deducted accordingly.
What time does breakfast begin?
So breakfast, yeah, great question. Breakfast will begin at 7:45 and it will be finished by 8:05 so we can get the children into the instructional time. So will be a pretty quick turnaround. That's something to consider on whether you would like your child to eat breakfast at school or at home, knowing that there isn't a lot of time. So if your child's a slower eater, it is a pretty quick turnaround of about 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay. And a few more questions about lunch. Are there very vegetarian options, and is lunch an option for preschoolers?
So lunch is definitely an option for preschoolers, so much so that it's the same lunch for all children, with some varying options for the children. And the first question, well, I'm sorry, I'm losing my train. Did you?
Vegetarian option.
Options. I will look into that. That's a great question. If we can make note that there should be some vegetarian options, but I'll need to talk to Chartwells about that specifically. That's a great question.
Okay. Switching gears, we have a few questions about Discover Club. So will it be starting on the first day?
Discover Club will be starting on the first day. However, there is a wait list. So we are at, not the capacity that we used to have because of our lack of personnel that have signed up so far. So with Discover Club, the district is very actively and aggressively looking for people both through Kelly Services, our sub system, as well as anyone internally that can also staff Discover Club. And so unfortunately, there is still that wait list, but it will begin on the first day of school for the children that have been accepted into the program. And we're feverishly trying to get the staffing in place for more students on the wait list to be able to begin Discover Club as soon as possible. But if your child is in the wait list, I would just strongly encourage you to make sure you have an alternate option for childcare before and after school while you wait to be taken off the wait list and join the program.
Does that include early dismissal days? Will there be Discover Club on early dismissal?
There is still Discover Club on early dismissal day, yes.
Okay. Moving back and going to some pre-K questions. Orientation for the preschool is only on August 25th. And if families are out of town or unable to make it, will there be another date where students can come in, pre-K students can come in and meet their teachers?
Okay, so that is the only opportunity for preschool. However, if you touch base with your preschool teacher, there may be an opportunity for you to be able to come in according to the teacher's schedule. But we are doing one big preschool orientation the evening of Thursday, August 25th.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. Going back to transportation, if a child rides the bus, what time will all buses typically arrive to school so that the parents know that their children are here and safe and in our care?
Great. So we're actually working on an app that will track your child. That should be rolling out this year, where you can actually say who your child is, and there's a GPS system that tracks where the bus is. So if it's running late at the end of the day, you'll be able to see where the bus is, as well as once your child does get on the bus, you'll be able to see when they're at that Oakland stop right by the ECC that they've been dropped off. But typically all buses are dropped off between 7:45 and 7:50. So that is kind of that time frame that all the buses have picked up the children and have journeyed their way to school and have dropped them off right within the first 5 minutes of the opening of our school day.
Okay. All right, so the next couple of questions are just about our COVID protocols. And so I'm going to ask them kind of as you're talking about them. So will parents, and I'm sure other grade levels, will they be able to walk their students into school on the first day?
Good question. So the two opportunities to really come into the school and see the school in action are the supply drop-off day on August 22nd for your K1 and 2 children, as well as the preschool orientation on August 25th. As of now, but we will, continue to have conversations and evolve to a place where we are asking that all children be dropped off at the door and no one coming in at this time, especially as we come back and we're masking. We're trying to provide the opportunities for you to still see your child's classroom, but not when there are the full staff, the full capacity of our students in the building. So as of now, no, but we are looking for more opportunities because I heard you last year and knew how much that was a need and desire to come back into the building. We just want to do it in a way that is safe for all, as well as a way that's conducive to the learning environment. So day one, children will be dropped off at the door, but please be sure, and we'll cover more of this for our preschool orientation on August 25th. Preschool parents will be using a similar format where you can drop off at the various locations, the various doors, so you still can kind of wave in and see your child's classroom as close as it may be to your child's home space. But on day one, we are asking that all children be dropped off at the door at this time.
Okay. All right. And to clarify, if you have a pre-K student and a kindergarten student, where should they be dropped off at?
Okay, so that will be at the car rider line, right at the Burgess parking lot. So the children can all be dropped off right there and at the same time as well, as close to the 8 o'clock hour as possible.
Okay. If parents have concerns like with their students wearing masks and they are going to support us in that effort of sending them to school in a mask, and they just want us to know that there may be some issues just to support their child, what should they do with that?
That's great. So thank you for sending your child with the mask. We know that we have our youngest learners, so it's difficult, especially after possibly a summer of not wearing masks, to enter these 2 weeks of mask wearing. But we are definitely flexible, as well as create a lot of learning opportunities for children to practice wearing their masks. But know that there's room, wiggle room for helping practice, and knowing that children need differentiation in that process as well. So we appreciate the efforts to send the masks and try to be as safe as possible these first couple of weeks. And we will definitely work with your child. The teachers are all prepared and have done that definitely the last couple of years here at the ECC.
Okay. We have a few more questions, and 2 of them pertain to the My School Bucks. How can parents get that money back if they do have money sitting in the account and it's determined that we're not using that?
That's a great question, and we can ask Chartwells about that question, especially if we are changing the app that we're using. Where may that money be? And we will look into that.
Okay. And a couple more questions. So last year, the process for pickup for parents who arrive early or who have to pick up kids in pre-K and other grades would go through the circle drive or park to the side and wait for their child to be released. And many didn't realize that when they pulled up, they were waiting behind others who were waiting for the next round of dismissals, not actually in line. Has there been any discussion about streamlining that pickup process up?
Okay. It's always a work in progress. So I'll be very transparent in saying the main way is we color code our car rider signs so that our children that are K1 and 2 car riders have these green signs, and then our pre-K students are the red signs. So we try to be really cognizant of who is in the line, but it is a work in progress that we're going to meet with, especially that preschool team who kind of starts off the car rider dismissal process to figure out the best way to manage that. But the biggest thing is knowing if your child is a K1 and 2 child to wait till 3 o'clock to enter the lot. And that's just going to be continued conversations, both individually when we see people that aren't there at the designated time they should be, versus, written communication and expectations as well.
And the final question that I have is just how can families support the district to ensure that there are appropriate resources for before and after care and all other ECC needs? They definitely appreciate the progress that's been made recently, and also recognizing that teachers have been helping the efforts as well. So
yeah. Thank you for your grace and flexibility. We know how important it is for before and after care. We also know that during this time, the staffing shortages around the country are very real. And so we are working diligently to find the people to make it happen. And I've seen some emails that have gone to the board, and they're appreciative too of just these out of the box, ways of thinking about how we can do this. So I know that there are families that are opening their doors in the neighborhoods to welcome children in if at all possible. as well as just getting people to commit to staying. So we're working on a way to try to get enough staff members to stay, knowing that their school day is full and hard as well. So we really are still just looking for recruitment. So if there's anyone that anyone knows that could apply for it, we're also looking into possibly that flexibility of getting more high school students to be able to join. We currently have some licensing and accreditation type of mandates that we're trying to look at to say our families just want and need the care. So we're working at trying to become more flexible in how we provide the care, and possibly looking at re-examining some of those mandates so that we can open the doors to more children. So thank you for your grace and your flexibility and also your problem solving, and feel free to continue to email us as well. Miss Stansel and I aren't in charge of Discover Club, but of course we are here, and we are here for your children. But at the district level, you can email. I can forward it on to the people that do help make those decisions and are in charge, especially any ideas that you can have. But again, I know it's been a real inconvenience to our families, but thank you for also being flexible and figuring out alternatives. All right, is that it?
I hope I did y'all right. We did that.
Thank you. We love that the questions this year can continue to evolve to be more about lunch and about getting back to the new sense of normalcy, right? And so I remember last year being very nervous at this principal meet and greet that I would compare this to, about all the questions that families have. But we absolutely love the MRH ECC community. Ms. Stansel and I talked after Popsicles in the Parks about just how welcoming this community is, and how we're all in it for the children and caring for the children first and foremost. So thank you for your partnership. We are looking forward to a great year with your children. Keep an eye out for continued communication about the start of school, about the maps on where to drive for car ride or drop off. We look forward also to seeing you either on August 22nd or August 25th for your drop off or your preschool orientation. And please reach out at any time. And thank you so much for the other nice comments you all are putting into the Q&A as well. So thank you so much for your time today, for your great questions. And we are looking forward to a great 22-23 school year. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you for spending some of it with us today. Thank you, everyone.